Variolation, inoculation, vaccination. These terms have been in use for long, centuries. First, it was variolation. All these things are important in the context of smallpox disease. Smallpox has been eradicated from the world since 1980 by the World Health Organization. But it was a devastating disease, a disease that caused devastating outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics. Centuries ago, there was a process that was called variolation. This variolation started in Asian countries, China, India, African countries, before the slave trade. Before it started in Asia, Africa, before it entered the USA and the UK. What is variolation? Now, it was shown that if someone has smallpox, which is a disease that causes a lot of rashes all over the body and causes damage to the internal organs of the body, and the person survives, the person will not be infected from smallpox again. Surviving smallpox gives you a lifelong immunity against the disease. And so, people thought that, okay, if I get the smallpox and I survive, and it protects me from getting another smallpox, so why not expose myself to the smallpox? If I expose myself to the smallpox and I survive, I'm free, I'm protected. So what they did was they would collect, the smallpox used to develop rashes that are filled with pustules. They would collect the pus or scraps of the lesions, the skin lesions, and now rub it on somebody who is healthy or somebody who has no smallpox. Or they will spray it. They would spray it so that a healthy person could inhale the scraps and those things that are gotten from the person who had smallpox, with the hope that the individual who is healthy will develop a mild form of smallpox, that if the person survives it, the person can be protected from having smallpox. That was called variolation, and it was a practice in Asian countries and in African countries. It is said that it was a slave from Africa, the slave from Africa, Onesimus, who described this technique to his slave master, Cotton Matty. And when they tried it, when there was a 1721 smallpox outbreak in Boston in the US, they performed variolation and it had success. That there was an ambassador, the British ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, Lady Mary, observed variolation in Istanbul and the son was variolated in 1718. And when she went back to England, she talked about variolation, and variolation became a practice. But then, exposing people to smallpox, some of those who were exposed had a serious form of the disease and they died. So, variolation had limited success. So, in 1718, that was when Lady Mary, the wife of the British ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, introduced this to England and became in use. Now, there was a man, Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner is credited with creating the first vaccine, the smallpox vaccine. Edward Jenner was born in 1749. The introduction of Variola to England was in 1712, 1718. So, when Edward Jenner was born, when he was a little boy, the practice was variolation. So, as a boy, himself and other boys were variolated. They will create a bruise in the arm, then they will collect pustules, pus from the skin lesions of those who had the smallpox will be rubbed on those places, so they will be inoculated with the live smallpox, So he had variolation, he suffered symptoms of smallpox, he survived. So he had early experience of experiencing variolation. So at that time, medicine had three categories or three parts. We have the physician, we have the surgeon, then the apothecary or apothecarists. The physician is a person that goes to the university medical school. There were a few university medical schools then. Those who go to study medicine, when they graduate, they become physicians. They are trained in the theory part of medicine, but they don't touch, they don't do surgeries, they don't make drugs. Those are the physicians. They are seen as the noble people because it's the children of nobility that could attend those schools. So they had high status in the society. Those were the physicians. Then you have the surgeons. In those days, to be a surgeon, you don't need to go to medical school or to the university. Surgery was studied by apprenticeship. If you want to become a surgeon, you go and register as an apprentice under somebody who is a surgeon. So the person will now train you on how to cut, on how then surgeons were hands-on. Unlike the physicians that don't cut, don't touch, the surgeons were like manual workers or manual laborers. So they were not seen as doctors. Some were even barbers. They cut hair. So from cutting hair, they also learned to cut other things in the body. So they became barber surgeons. So surgeons were called Mister because then they don't go to medical school. You learn it as an apprentice. So surgeons became surgeons by apprenticeship, by becoming an apprentice. Then you have the apothecarists. The apothecary is one who make drugs. It is also learned by apprenticeship.